here we go with some function evaluations dealing with the story problem aspect. Okay. So on these ones, we need to create the function, then we're going to solve it. Okay. So let's start out. We'll make a couple equations, then move over to a different sheet so that we can solve them there. So the first one, the super amazing contest of awesomeness has begun in Mr. Rydalch's class. The contest is single elimination. There are 59,049 contestants starting the competition. After every day, only 1/3 will, I think that says will be eliminated. It should be will remain. I meant to change that to make more sense. Will remain. How many days until they are down to one winner? Okay, so first thing we need to do is figure out what our function is going to be. So we go f of x, or we could use a different letter. So we start with 59,049 contestants, and only 1/3 remain. So we're going to times by 1/3 to the x. Okay, there's our function. So let's go over here and rewrite that. Okay, now the thing is says how many days until they are down to one winner. So the question is that an input or an output, an independent or dependent? Well, every day, the days are going to determine how many remain. So the 1 would be an output. So I want to know when f of x would equal 1. So I replace the f of x with a 1, and then we need to solve. Solving for exponents can be a little tricky. So first I'm going to divide by this number and get a hideous fraction, because I divide by both sides. Okay. Now the thing with this, what we need to think about is how this 3 can become that number, because notice we have 1 on top. And with fractions we can actually split them up, kind of like that, and to get it to be 1, it'd be, just that 1. So, you probably want to grab a calculator and just start multiplying by 3. So, if I have 3 times 1 is 3, 3 squared is 9, then 3 times is 27, 4 times 81, 5 times 2, 43, 6 times 7, 29, 8 times 2,187, 9 times 6,561, 10 times 19,683, and 11 times, I think it was, right? So x would have to be 11, so it would be in 11 days. And that's what we're looking for here. So f of x, or actually x equals 1, no, x equals 11, f of 11 equals 1. Whoa, that was way too hard to figure out for me. So that's what we kind of want our answer written down as, okay? But that one was a really difficult one, so they should be a little bit easier. Okay, number 2, Ignatius is looking into adding to his ninja pony collection. He currently has 273 ninja ponies, but he would like more. With his allowance, he figures he can buy 3 every month, okay? How many does he have after a year? Well, let's make this one n of x for ninjas, okay? He started with 273. He's adding 3 every month, so 3x. Okay, how many will he have after a year? Well, this is time, so in a year it will be 12 months, right? So for this one we are looking at f of 12. What does f of 12 equal? So I go f of 12 here because it's the input. It's a lot easier. I just replace the x with 12, so I get 273 plus 3 times 12, which I should know that that was 36. Add 273 to that. we get 309. So f of 12 equals 309. So in a year, he'll have 309. Okay, number 3, Horatio is saving up for college. He already has $10 in his bank account. He recently scored a new job testing out chairs and will receive $5 for every chair that he tests. How long until he earned enough money to buy a Nintendo Switch for $300? Because apparently saving up for college is out in this problem. So we go f of x equals, starts out with 10, adding 5 for every chair. We want to get up to $300, okay? So that means our f of x equals $300, okay? So we don't want the input to be 300, it's the output that's 300. So when the output is 300, I replace my output with 300, and because we're looking for x, we solve for x. And I solve by subtracting my 10 from both sides first, because he already had that $10, and then we divide by 5, because that represents each chair, and so he would have to test out 58 chairs, wouldn't he? So f of 58 would equal 300. So it would depend, for how long, it would depend on, how long it takes him to do that many chairs, and that would determine our answer. Number 4, the zombie apocalypse is upon us. The CDC has reported that in the city of Twila there are 50 zombies already, with the population of zombies doubling every hour. How many zombies will there be in 1 week? So let's actually do z of t here, t for time. So there's already 50, we're doubling every hour. Okay, how many will there be in 1 week? Well, there's 7 days in a week, right? So I'm going to have to go 7 times 24 hours per day. So that would be, the time would be 168. So in 168 hours would be 1 week. Okay, so I want z of 168. So I go z of 168 equals 50 times 2 to the 168. It's probably going to be a pretty big number. So using a calculator, I go 2 to the 168. And even on my calculator, I get a big number. I get 50 times 3.7 times 10 to the 50. Okay, so that means I basically have 49 zeros after here. So just keeping my calculator, I times that by 50, and I get z of 168 equals 1.871 times 10 to the 52, which means I would go 1, 2, 3, and then I would do 49 zeros. Okay, and I'm not going to do that, but that would be an enormous number, wouldn't it? Okay, so that was the answer to number 4. I'm not going to write that one again. Alright, so Bethany likes collecting fingernails. Her collection is growing quite large. She currently has 72 different people's fingernails. She collects on average 3 a day. How many will she have in 100 days? So, you go f of x equals 72 plus 3x. Okay, in 100 days, x stands for day because it's every day. So we would plug it in, okay? So I'm just going to do it right here. So it would be f of 100 equals 72 plus 3 times 100. 3 times 100 is 300. So 372. So it would take her 372 days. Or no, you'd have 372 fingernails in 100 days. Okay? Number 6, Sorziana is saving up for college. She already has $2 in her bank account. Her job pays $10 a week. How much money will she have in 1 year? So f of x equals, she has 2 plus 10 times x. Okay, then how much will she have in a year? So that's the independent. So in 1 year there's 52 weeks. So we're going to go f of 52 equals 2 plus 10 times 52. Okay, 10 times 52 is 520, plus 2 is 522. So in a year she's only going to have 522 saved up, which is not a whole lot. She probably needs to do a little bit better at that. Okay. Number 7. Estella starts a YouTube channel depicting Pokemon battles she is involved in online. Her friends and family make 4 followers the first day. Each week she adds 80 followers. How long until she has 1,044 followers? So f of x equals the 4 plus 80 times x. Okay. Now we want to know till we get to this number. That's the output, not the input. So we want to know when f of x equals 1044, what is x, right? So I plug it in. So I go f of x becomes the 1044 equals 4 plus 80x. So subtract 4, and I would get 1040 equals 80x divided by 80, and that's what my x would equal, which would be 1040 divided by 80, 13. So in 13 weeks, she would have it. Alright, number 8. Ethelbert is saving up for college. He currently has 400 and is making an additional 30 each week. So f of x equals 400 plus 30x. How much money will I have saved in 14 weeks? So the x stands for the week, so we just go f of 14 equals 400 plus 30 times 14. 30 times 14, because we're just evaluating the right side, is 420 plus 400, so 820 in 14 weeks. Okay? Now let's take a look at number 10 to kind of contrast that. So now he's saving up for welding school. He still starts out with the 400, but he's going to triple the amount. Okay? How much money will he have saved in 14 weeks? So same situation as number 8. So I go f of 14 equals 400 times 3 to the 14th. So using a calculator, I go 3 to the 14th, and I get 4,782,969. Times that by 400, and we get f of 14 equals 1,913,187, or 1,913,187,600, which would probably be enough to pay for college, barely. Okay, number 9, Mr. Rydalch's YouTube channel is getting more popular. Last week he had 144 subscribers, and due to the excellent videos he posts, the amount of subscribers is doubling every week. How many followers will he have at 30 weeks? So f of x equals, started with 144, doubling, we want to figure it out in 30 weeks. So f of 30 would equal 144 times 2 to the 30. Okay, 2 to the 30 gives me 1 billion times by 144 would give me this number, which would be more viewers than actually exist on the planet. Okay, because that would be 154,618,822,656 in 30 weeks, which would be a lot. I think I could quit my job and just do my YouTube videos. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of these. We've got 20 of them, so we're almost there. Okay, cab company charges an initial rate of $2.50 for a ride, plus $40 for each mile driven. How much will it cost to travel 10 miles? So, f of x equals the $2.50 plus the 40 cents per mile. We want to know how far to go 10, so that's f of 10 equals 2.5 plus 0.4 times 10. 0.4 times 10 would be basically $4, plus $2.50 would give us $6.50 to go 10 miles. 12. A population of insects doubles every month. This particular population started out with 20 insects, so f of x equals 20 times 2 to the x. how long will it take to have 1,310,720 insects? So that's my output, right? The number of insects. And the long is my input. So f of x becomes my big number, 1 million. So I'm going to divide by 20 first. So again, needing a calculator here. So I'm going to take big number, divide by 20, makes my number a bit smaller. Equals 2 to the x. So how many times? So really what you want to do is just kind of try some numbers out. So if I go 2 to the 5th, that's 32. 2 to the 10th is 1,024. So it's going to be bigger than that, right? 2 to the 20th is 1,048,000. Okay, so that's too big. So 2 to the 18th is 262,000. So 2 to the 17th, 131. 2 to the 16th is our number. Equals that. So x equals 16. So f of 16 equals that big number. Alright, number 13. You and some friends are hiking the Appalachian Trail. You start out with 70 pounds of food for the group, and the group eats about 8 pounds of food each day. How long until you run out of food? So basically your food becomes 0. So you're eating the food, and it's per day, so it'd be f of x equals, we start with 70, we subtract 8 every day. So how long until we run out? How long until this is 0? So it goes 0 equals 70 minus 8x. So we subtract 70. Negative 70 equals negative 8x. Divide by negative 8. So x would equal whatever 70 divided by 8 is. A negative 70 divided by negative 8 becomes a positive 8.75. So basically in 9 days, right? So we could say f of 8.75 would equal 0. Okay? Number 14, Maddie borrowed $1,250 from a friend to buy a new TV. Her friend doesn't charge any interest, and Maddie makes $40 payments each month. So f of x equals $1,250, and she's making $40 payments each month. How much will she have paid off in 6 months? Okay. So if we plug in for 6, this will tell us how much she has left, which then we could figure out how much she is paid off, right? So if I go 40 times 6, it's 240. So 1,250 minus 240 would give us 1010. Okay, so that's how much she still has to pay off. So basically, she's paid $240 off in the 6 months. Okay, but she still has $1,010 to pay off. All right. The half-life of rhodium, Rh106, is about 30 seconds. You start with 500 grams. How much is left after 4 minutes? Which was basically 8 times you count to 30. So we go f of x equals 500, and a half-life means we're timesing it by a half every set of 30 seconds. Okay? So we take this x, but we don't put 4 in it because it's every 30 seconds, so we put 8. So f of 8 equals 500 times 1/2 to the 8. Okay. So I go 0.5 or 1/2 to the 8th, which gives me 0.00390,625, which I times by 500, and I get f of 8 equals 1.953125. So that's how much is left of grams. So about 2 grams. Okay, 16. A stock is declining at a rate of 25% of its value every 2 weeks. The stock started at $2.25. In how many weeks will it reach $71? So f of x equals $2.25, and it's losing 25%, but if that were 100%, and we're losing 25% every 2 weeks, we still have 75%. So I times by 0.75x. So how much till it's 71? Well, that means we put 71 here. Okay, and I go 225 times 0.75x. So we divide by 225. So I get 71 divided by 225, which is 0.315 repeated, equals 0.75x. So then I kind of just have to guess and say, so I go 0.75, and then I'm going to square it. That's 0.56. So 0.75 to the third, 0.614, so 0.75 to the fourth. So it's kind of just some guess and check. And when I do it to the fourth, it actually gets really close. It's 0.316, which is basically what I could round up to. So I'm going to say after 4 sets of 2 weeks, which would be 8 weeks. Okay, so some of these are kind of more difficult problems, aren't they? Alright, 17. The population of a big city is increasing at a rate of 2.5% per year. The city's current population is 67,000. So f of x equals 67,000 times, now it's growing by 2.5, but 67,000 is 100%, and we're growing by 2.5, so we're really growing by 100.25, so 1.025x. So in 10 years means we go f of 10, and we plug in, it's the input, we plug in 10. So then using the calculator, I'll go 1.025 to the 10th equals 1.28 and a big old decimal, which I times by 6,700, and I get 85,765.66, which you really can't have partial persons, so f of 10 equals 85,765. Okay. It says at Boeing, a Boeing 747 starts out a long flight with about 57,260 gallons of fuel in its tank. The airplane uses an average of 5 gallons of fuel per mile. How much gas will remain after 2,000 miles? So we go f of x equals 57,260 not plus, minus, because we're subtracting 5 per mile. So then I want to find f of 2,000 because I want to know how much gas in 2,000. So minus 5 times 2,000. So 5 times 2,000 should be 10,000, right? So we get 57,260 minus 10,000. So 47,260 would be after the 2,000 miles. Okay? And to finish these off, number 19, a rental company rents personal watercraft for $70 per hour plus an initial $15 fee. If you use it for 4 hours, how much will you owe? Well, f of x would equal 70x plus 15. Doing this one backwards. So f of 4 equals 70 times 4 hours plus 15. So 70 times 4 would be 280 plus 15 would be 295. So basically, it costs you $300 to do that. Number 20, a mole population in your neighborhood quadruples every month. You estimate that there were 8 moles to begin with. So f of x equals 8 times 4 to the x. Okay, how long until there are 8,192? So that's our output. So I go 8192 equals 8 times 4 to the x. Start out by dividing by 8. Gives me 1024 equals 4 to the x. Then I do some guess and check. Okay, so if I do 4 to the 4th, that's 256. Okay, if I do 4 to the 10th, oops, that's 1,000,000. So 4 to the 6th equals 4,000, so maybe 4 to the 5th is, yep, equals that. So x equals 5. Okay? Alright, there we go, guys.